Hello and welcome to another macro video. Today I'm looking at editing PDFs, and although we've already got a video about that, it's a long video, 19 minutes, and fairly intense, so I thought it would be helpful to have a bit of a summary of that. But before I do that, I've got a brand new macro which will help quite a bit, but certainly helped me when editing PDFs. So let's have a look at that first, and if you want to have a look at the video you can see that. Okay, so two parts really. I want to look at the new macro and show you what that does. Basically it adds page and line numbers to the Word file that you create, and the Word file is a copy of the PDF so that you can do analyses on the Word file and then relate that to the PDF. And then in the second half I will do a brief summary of the whole of the PDF editing process. So let's start with the first bit where we're looking at the new macro, and there are a number of problems with trying to work out the page and line numbering of the file you get by copying and pasting or getting the Word itself to convert the PDF file. So let's have a look briefly at a file that comes from a PDF. It's a live file, so I've enigmatized the text, but leaving a few words which I can play with as part of the demonstration. So we've got lines of text which you can see are individual, if I show you the formatting, individual lines, and then there are page numbers somewhere. Where are they? Well, I've highlighted them, so there's one down here. That's the page showing page number 2. There isn't a page number 1 marker because that's the chapter heading. Go a bit further down and we've got down here we've got page number 3 and so on. So the problems we've got are, first of all, which numbers are the page numbers. And if you look back at here, and on page 2 here, look, there's at that point there's a sort of small list of 1 and 2. Well, that looks like a page number, so that's actually going to confuse it. But anyway, we'll worry about that later. So which numbers on the Word file are actually the page numbers? Some pages are not numbered. We've already noticed that page 1 is not numbered because it's a chapter title. And where are the page numbers? Well, it depends on the file. Sometimes the page numbers are in headers, sometimes they're in footers, and then also sometimes they're in the middle of the page, as opposed to these, which are even numbers on the left and odd numbers on the right. So those are the things that the macro has to cope with, which was certainly an interesting bit of programming. Okay, let's try and demonstrate it. So we start by putting the cursor on the first page and run the macro. So it says start number brackets in headers question mark. So in other words, it's reminding me that at the moment the macro is set up so that it is assuming that the page numbers are in headers, and it's offering me number 1 as the possible page number. The point about that is that we can start the macro again further down the document, further down the Word file. So that means that we'll be starting at a later page number. Okay, page number 1. Okay, we say yes, and it's asking me, do you want to pause after each page, or just carry on straight the way through and just keep going regardless? I want to pause, so I say yes. So the first thing it does is puts in a tab in front of each line, and then it goes to number that first that first page. And as you see actually down here, it's found that number 2 and thinks that's the start of page 2. But we're not going to worry too much about that. It's not going to throw us out terribly because it's down the bottom of the page. continue, yes, we might as well continue. So it gets to the end of the next page. This one, it has actually found the right place for page 3. Continue, yes. Page 4, page 5, no problem. Page 6, okay. And then now, what's happened here? It's got up to line 101. So it looks as if something might have gone wrong there. And actually, what it's done, it stopped. And it's going to go back. If I say yes, continue, it actually goes back because it couldn't find page 7. In other words, it couldn't find the number for page 7. So it's gone back to where it started. Let's stop it and show you. It's gone back to the beginning of where it found page 6 and started from there. But it's added in question marks because because it's warning me that there's something gone wrong here. So it carries on numbering, and as you can see, it's the start of chapter 2 there. So there isn't a page 7, or not a page 7 marker. So it carries on numbering through there. So what I can do if I want to is to start again here. Say click there, run the macro again. And it's offering me page 1, but I don't want that. I want page 7. So if I click page 7 there, pause after each page, yes. So it renumbers 7, has now found 8, and you can see it down below it here is the old page 6, number 50, line 55. So if I say continue, yes, from there, off it goes, page 9, and that's okay. So let's stop on that. Let's run again from there. If I put the cursor on the 9 there and run the macro and say OK, but say no, don't pause. In other words, what I want it to do is to go right the way through to the end. So I've actually got the whole thing numbered, and I'm stalling slightly because it'll take a little while. Okay, so it's nearly there and it's got to the end. Okay, so the point about this is that if you've got issues that come up as you're doing the editing, and you need to look as to where they are in the document. Say you need to find occurrences of the word frequency. I can use instant find down in the Word file, and I can find occurrences of that word. So it's on page 1, line 20, and then go to the next one, 22 on the same page, page 2, line 28, page 5, line 8. So I can very easily cross-reference from there back to the PDF and make the changes, mark up the changes that are needed for that. So that's basically how it works. But just to show you that we also have to, if we've got files that have the page numbering in the footer, as this one. So there's page 1. Bigger. So it's page 1 is there, marked there. Then this is now page 2, but the numbering is below. So what we have to do is we have to go to the macro itself and change it so that we now say that we want numbers in the headers false. We don't want the numbers to be in the headers. Okay, so this time when we run the macro, start from here, page 1, yes, say OK, pause, yes. So it's saying, do we want to continue there? It's got confused already, as you can see, because it's looking for the numbering, page number 1, and it's found chapter 1, so it thinks that's the page number. So let's stop that. Let's go back to here, and let's say start from there and run the macro and say we want to start with page 1, yes, okay, pause, yes, okay. So it's got the 1, it's numbered page 1, it's reached the actual numbering for page 1, and therefore beyond that it's page 2, so I say continue, yes, so I get page 2 numbered there, and again it's stumbled over this 2 that's here. Continue, yes, doesn't matter desperately. We have got page 3 numbered there, page 4 and so on. Okay, so the only other thing really to point out is that with some page numbering, the numbers do not alternate between left and right. So we've got a feature in the macro itself here saying all numbers at right equals false. In other words, the numbers were alternating between left and right, but if all the numbers were at the right, then we would make that one true, and it would assume that all the numbers are on the right hand side. When it comes to numbers being alternately left and right, it is possible that the book is unconventional. In other words, in the one we've got here, the even numbers are on the left and the odd numbers are on the right, which is the normal way of doing it. But if that's not the case for some reason or other, we can actually change it in the macro. And the final bit to note is that if you look carefully at the file here, that's the normal part of the text. The page numbers are slightly smaller. That's just something you can do if you want to. We've got the what I've got here is the font size is the normal size minus 1. So it's just, if the normal size is 11, then it will do these numbers in font size 10. But that's only just a minor point. Okay, well, I think that's about it for now. I'll get on to the next part in our next exciting episode. I'll go on to look at the whole process, the PDF editing process, and just do a summary reminder for you. Okay, so that's it for now.